What's good, everybody? Articulated Ninja here, and today we're talking about saluting hands on your military figures. Whether it's Action Force military or classified military, I'm gonna show you guys how to do it and how to get it basically for free. But I just want to show you guys how it looks because I feel like it looks really dope on a shelf to have your figures set up like this. Whether it's an army behind Cobra or whoever, it looks dope on a shelf, and companies do not give this to us. So here's a simple way on how to get it, but here's how it looks once you do it.
Present Humps!
So whether it's toy photography or it's just having them on the shelf, I do think saluting hands are pretty dope. It's pretty cool because I've never had anything like it. And the quickest and most inexpensive way I found to do this is to just buy a cheap clamp. This will give you the best results, but you don't technically need this. You can really literally just use anything heavy. I'll show you later on in the video, but right now you're gonna take your extra hands. Now, when it comes to classified, the biggest complaint that I see a lot of people have is they don't give us extra hands. And 9 times out of 10, usually they don't. They just don't. They give us the 2 hands that come with the figure and a bunch of guns or swords or knives or spears or whatever. But you're gonna have to sacrifice one of your trigger hands, your right trigger hand, if it's a classified figure. If it's an Action Force figure, since we get so many hands when it comes to Action Force, you're gonna sacrifice the right. It's kind of like a palming hand. You're gonna sacrifice that, but chances are you wasn't using it anyway. Since I have so many Action Force figures, I have bins and just totes of extra hands. To do this with a classified figure, you are going to sacrifice your right trigger hand, which I think nobody wants to do. So you can take an Action Force hand, trim down the peg a little bit and fit it into a classified figure if you would like to do that. But we don't get enough hands with classified. That's the point. In Action Force, we get so many hands, but a saluting hand is not one of them. And I understand why, because a lot of the other hands that we're getting with Action Force figures are way more important, useful, or just more of a necessity than saluting hands. So I'm just placing them in front of this space heater, this electric space heater, for about a minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes. Just let them sit there and let them warm up, because then they become super flexible, bendy, and just malleable in general. And I just want to show you guys real quick. Once you do that, this is how most clamps work, especially ones that look like this. You just pull the trigger down and it will slowly start to clamp together on whatever object you have it on. And if you don't have a clamp, like I said, you can use a pair of pliers. You can use anything for the most part with weight or that will squeeze an object. Chances are, I hope that, you know, whatever pliers you're using aren't as rusty and shitty as these. But I just wanted to show you guys, you don't necessarily have to spend money. I'm just grabbing shit from around the house. This looks like it was probably sitting in this house for, I don't know, 200 years, and hey, it's still going to work for me. I'm going to make it work. So if you are using a pair of rusty shitty pliers like me, maybe throw a napkin on it so none of the rust actually starts to get onto the hand. And now that you guys can see the hands heated up so it is super flexible and bendy, now you want to take that hand and we're going to throw it in the pair of pliers or the clamps or whatever you're using. You just want to put it in there and try to flatten it out as much as possible. Now if you are using pliers, you can hold it for, I don't know, a few minutes and squeeze it, or you could just do what I did and take the lazy route and just tie some rubber bands around it. This way it keeps it nice and closed, kind of like the clamp would do, but I'm just doing it with pliers and I'm using rubber bands attached to the back of the pliers to keep it tight. But remember, like I said, you don't got pliers, you don't got a clamp, it's okay. You can literally take anything heavy. And all you're going to do with that heavy object, whether it's a house weight or right here I'm using an external storage device that's kind of heavy, I am literally just going to try to flatten the hand out as much as I can after heating it up. So just place the heavy object on top of the hand if you don't got pliers or a clamp. Or if you have some thick figures around with them thick thighs, you know, you could slide the hands right in between those thighs and, you know, squeeze them thighs together, try to flatten it out. Or you could have one of your thick figures actually sit on the hand for a little while. And just to show you guys real quick, this is what's happening. You're literally just flattening it down. So you're just gonna squeeze the clamp down and leave it in there for a while, and it should be totally flat once that plastic actually cools off. Not temporarily, you know what I'm saying? You leave it in there for a while, let it cool off for a while. I literally leave it in the clamp for over 30 minutes.
Eventually.
Okay, so 30 minutes has passed. Let's take this guy out of the clamp just so you guys can see around about how it'll look more or less once you're done flattening it for 30 minutes. So this is how it looks. I didn't notice my clamp actually had a print on it, so now I have this weird like design print on the hand, but whatever, I don't care. And then we just take this hand, and it's totally cooled off, stick it onto the figure, and there you go. That's simple. You basically have a free salute hand, at least when it comes to Valaverse Action Force. You can also take this hand and use it on the classified figures, but I believe these pegs are a tiny bit bigger, so you're gonna have to trim down the end of this peg, but nonetheless you see how you can do it. And you can also do it on classified figures, but doing it on classified figures, the negative is they don't give us no damn hands, so you will be sacrificing your right trigger hand. And personally, I really wouldn't want to do that. I really don't think that's the greatest of ideas. I did it, but I also have tons of troopers. But I don't just make videos for my circumstances. And if I have to think about someone that only has 1 or 2 troopers, I wouldn't think the best thing to do is to sacrifice that one right hand that they give you. And this is why classified needs to give us more hands. Action Force gives us so many hands that we can do alternative things like this with the hands and with the figure, and it's not going to hurt us for the most part. Classified, on the other hand, yeah, it kind of hurts, but you can still do it. Same exact process, same exact thing with the classified trigger hands, and you basically get the same result. As you can see, it's curved a little bit more because the trigger hands are actually closed, but you more or less get the same effect, at least enough to pull it off to it looks like what it's supposed to be doing. It's not perfect, but I think it's still worth it. But obviously, using the Action Force hands I would recommend that 10 times more than using classified hands. So if you have some of those Action Force right hands laying around, I definitely say do it with those. The end result is really good. And real quick, shout out to Nelson Morales. I don't know him personally, but he did hit me up on Instagram. I got a DM from him. He didn't hit me up asking for a shout out, but he did hit me up asking me if I knew about this little trick as far as hitting up the hands to get salute hands. And I told him that I did, and eventually I was going to make a video on it, but he just wanted me to know about it. This way I can share it with my audience, because he said, you know, it might be helpful to a lot of people. So he didn't ask for credit, didn't want any credit. But I thought it was nice that he didn't want any credit, but he just wanted to get the word out there so other people could enjoy this little trick. So shout out to you, Nelson, for wanting the word to be spread about this little trick so other people can enjoy it as well. He also sent me a picture of his setup with salute hands, and I just wanted to show his real quick because he actually used classified figures. And all across the wall right here, we can see all these different guns. It looks like Action Force gear packs and helmets, and there's jet packs. It looks like there's a drone on this stand right here. It just overall, I think this is pretty dope. Really nice setup, man. Shout out to you. Yeah, just a quick video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope that this helped somebody. Let me know in the comments if you thought about this already. I think it's pretty simple. Just heat up the plastic and flatten it out. So let me know in the comments if you thought this was helpful, if you're gonna do it to a few of your figures. And overall, guys, I hope everybody's having a good day. As I always say, life is short. Try to appreciate it more than you complain about it. Peace.
G.I. Joe, classified, Marvel Legends on my mind, Valaverse in NECA time, Mythic Legions I must find, SH Figure Arts I can't lie, Rebel Tech got my pockets dry, said action figures for life, articulated ninja is nice, yeah, you might wanna subscribe, action